Hello and welcome to Draw My Life. This video is going to be all about my life. So I was born in the sunny hot state of Arizona on February 27th, 1994. My dad's name is Greg and my mom's name is Becky, and I was the firstborn child. When I was 20 months old, my brother Trax was born, and then 2 years after that, my brother Austin was born. So for a while it was just me and my two younger brothers. But when Austin was 2 years old, we noticed that things were a little bit different with him, and he ended up getting diagnosed with autism. Austin is actually 17 today, and he has taught me so much about life in general. So in 1999, my parents bought the house that we pretty much spent our whole life in, and I remember loving this house because it had a pool and it was really, really big and just super, super awesome. In the first grade, my mom told me that she was pregnant and they were having another baby, and I was super excited because I was hoping for a sister, and my parents didn't find out what any of their pregnancies were, so it was going to be a surprise. And I remember waking up one morning and my neighbor was at her house and she said, "Your mom and dad are at the hospital having the baby." And I was so excited. I was waiting for my dad to call because I was really, really hoping that it was going to be a sister, and I just couldn't wait. So my dad called me shortly thereafter, and I asked him, "Is it a girl? Is it a girl?" And he said, "Nope, it's a boy, and his name is Andrew." And I was so, 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 so sad. I actually went to my room and cried for a really long time because I really, really wanted a sister. Luckily, I got over it pretty quickly and actually ended up loving being the oldest girl to three younger brothers. In elementary school, I realized that I really, really, really loved school, and in the fourth grade, I started learning how to play the viola, and in fifth grade, I actually started playing the piano and really, really enjoyed playing music. In junior high, I made the ninth grade basketball team, and I also met a lot of my friends that I am close with today as well. In high school, I took lots of honors classes, and even though they were super hard, I really enjoyed working hard in school and ended up getting straight A's throughout high school. I still played in the orchestra and was still playing piano, and I actually was considering going to college for music. In high school, I also started teaching private piano, viola, and violin lessons out of my home. I started with some neighbor kids that were in my neighborhood, and then eventually started gaining more and more students, and I really, really enjoyed teaching lessons. But by my junior year in high school, I decided that I actually didn't want to go to college for music, and I wanted to go to nursing school instead. Throughout my high school years, things became difficult with my parents and weren't going so well, and they grew apart and actually ended up getting divorced my senior year in high school. The divorce was really, really hard on my siblings and I, and it was really, really sad and terrible, and eventually my mom moved out of the house that we grew up in. We also ended up selling the house that we grew up in, and it was super sad because there was lots of memories there. But about a month before I graduated high school, I was on Facebook and I got a friend request from this guy named Jesse. And I was like, who is this Jesse guy? And I looked at his profile and he kind of looked familiar, so I decided to add him anyways, and we began to talk. We began messaging each other back and forth on Facebook and eventually talking on the phone and Skyping, and I found out that Jesse was actually in the Navy, and I thought, wow, you are so brave, and I was so attracted to the fact that he was in the military. And it comes to find out that Jesse and I actually went to the same elementary school, junior high, and high school, but we never knew that we went to the same schools. The more Jesse and I talked, the more we realized that we loved each other, and on May 13th, 2012, we decided to officially start dating. The only problem was I was living in Arizona and Jesse was stationed over in Florida in the Navy, and it was really sad because we were long distance, but we cared about each other and we wanted to make things work. In August of 2012, I started school at Arizona State University and I was going to be studying nursing. While I was in nursing school, Jesse and I would fly back and forth to see each other as much as we could, and it was hard because we were still long distance, but we made it work the best we could, and Jesse was in Florida still, studying to be a flight engineer. But in the summer of 2013, Jesse found out that he had to deploy overseas, and I was really, really, really sad because I was scared for him to go overseas and be so, so far away, but we knew that we could make it work. We were super bummed that he had to be so far away, but we were talking a lot about our future and getting engaged and married, and that Christmas, Jesse came back home and I was so, so, so excited. So on Christmas Eve of 2013, it was around 11 at night, and Jesse took me into his room, got down on one knee, and said, "Will you marry me?" And of course, I said yes, and we were super, super excited, but decided to keep it a secret until Christmas morning when we would announce it to all of our family and friends. For the most part, all of our family and friends were super, super happy for us and so excited. The only person that really wasn't too happy was my dad because we were only 21 and 20 years old. But we still were planning our wedding anyways, and on March 8, 2014, we got married and became husband and wife. We went on a mini honeymoon to California and had a bunch of fun. We went to Knott's Berry Farms and went out to eat a lot and had a great time, but our honeymoon was short lasting because Jesse was now stationed in Washington and had to go back up to Washington a few days after we got married. And of course, I was super sad, but not for too long because in May 2014, after I finished my semester at school, I packed up the car with me and my two cats and drove all the way up to Washington so that way Jesse and I could finally live together. Jesse and I got an apartment together up in Washington and we're just enjoying living together for the first time with our two cats, and we enjoy doing fun things like going to movies and just being a normal married couple. But in August 2014, I had to go back to start school again, and so I packed up the car with me and my two cats and drove all the way back home to Arizona. And I was super, super sad, and it was one of our hardest goodbyes yet. A few days after I got back home to Arizona, Jesse and I actually found out he was being deployed for a second time from August to November, and we were kind of bummed, but it was okay because I only had a year left of nursing school, and we were just super excited to tackle this next phase in our lives. Jesse got to come back home to Arizona for Christmas in 2014, and we were both excited to finally get to spend some more time together after this second deployment, and just really enjoyed being together again. But at this time, we also found out that Jesse was going to be deployed for a third time from January of 2015 until who knows when. So here we are now. Jesse is currently deployed, and I have 5 months left in nursing school, and I'm super excited to graduate in August. Jesse and I are super excited for me to graduate and for him to be back from deployment so that way we can finally start our lives again and buy a house and just live as a happy married couple. So there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my story.